Ocean Injury Violence Prevention. Please give them a warm welcome.
Can you hear me now? Thank you very much. We have a very important issue this morning.
ผมไม่รู้จักเลยไม่ได้ยินเลยมีบอกให้น้องไปบอกเป็นบอกว่าเสียงไม่เป็นเขาสร้างเขาไปลูกนะบอกเป็นของเขาเองตรงนี้ใกล้อยู่ไปครับ
Special groups, for example, during Sundays, Fridays, due to alcohol consumption and other communities are more active. We can let this kind of violence project with signs. We also have violence, we can do discrimination, violence,
ยังไม่ดังนะยังไม่ขึ้น
against people with other kind of religion, and also people who are homosexual, that we know that it's rather these groups, these groups are, has been, as 8% of all men, they are roughly 45% of all women. In every society, but they are always in many societies denied, they are different kind of violence. Almost very common. And then we have terrorists and this other kind of violence nowadays so active. There we perhaps can do a lot to say communities include people. And so we have violence against ourselves or self-destructive behavior. Suicide is those
ไม่มีวอลครับคนที่อยู่ข้างในนี้ครับ
ไม่รู้ด้วยนะ
เขากำลังไปพูดอยู่
Thank you
can participate on the conference. مشهد شهر کشور جمهوری اسلامی ایران با جمعیتی بالغ بر 3 میلیون و بیش از 25 میلیون زائر و گردشگر از سال 2012 پروژه جامعه ایران را آغاز کرده. ابتدا برای شما کلیپی از مشهد به نمایش خواهد گذاشتیم و گزارش اقدامات در رابطه جامعه ایمن شهر مشهد توسط آقای مهندس امیر عزیزی مدیر بحران شهرداری مشهد به حضورتون ارائه می‌گردم.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As the governor of Masha, Mr. Azam, as we said, first let me introduce my city Masha very shortly, and then I explain the activities of Masha municipality in the field of self-community. First, I introduce my city by a short video.
Mashhad, the ever-expanding city of history, religion, culture, and development.
His holy grace was buried in a village called Sanabal, where his followers began to settle owing to their belief regarding its sanctity. That was how the city of Mashhad was born. The city of Mashhad is the capital of Khorasan Razavi province in the northeast of Iran. It is linked to Afghanistan in the east and Turkmenistan in the north. The place used to be called the Tooth Plain hundreds of years ago. Mashhad is surrounded by Binalud and Hazar Masjid mountain ridges in Kashafut Ribatu. There are a total of 94 engravings on this petroglyph, most probably from the Neolithic era. One can perhaps make out two distinct parts when glancing at the city from a distance. The old part, having grown with a circular pattern around the holy shrine, and the new part, with a modern architecture formed over the past 50 years. The nocturnal view almost lingers in memories forever, providing peace and even years afterwards as it conjures up modern stones, and thus wearing it equals worship. Turquoise, the epitome of Iranian architecture with its sky-like shape, the holy shrine has also contributed enormously to another thriving art, tilework. The museum site is a reconstruction of an old bazaar with a range of professions already extinct. Blacksmith, bookbinding, carpet shop, masks of science and cultural figures of Mashhad can be seen in the front yard, namely Khwaja Nasiruddin Tusi, the great astrologist whom every Mashhadi is proud of. Opportunity for these stores in the vicinity of the shrine to sell local produces, namely Mr. Eminian, the head of public relations, showed me around. He mentioned a few interesting points as we were chatting in the tropical restaurant.
Because use of architecture of 8 different nations, as I said before, Rome, Egypt, India, Iran,
China and other countries.
The Holy Shrine has also promoted endowment in Mashhad more than anywhere else. Here is not a single district in Mashhad without any form of endowment. Hospital, library, factory, art centers, and canal, devoted for specific purposes. Akilabad Garden is one of the most beautiful recreational spots in the city of Mashhad. In a mega city which serves as the destination of about 40% of summer trips from across the nation, the case in this sector has contributed substantially to the fluidity of traffic in the periphery of the town. Which proclaims the new and reasonable fare. Transport infrastructures, such as international airports, extensive railway, as well as road coverage, which of course dates back to thousands of years ago. Mashhad is situated on the oldest trade routes of the world, the Silk Road. In the old past, merchants traded commodities mainly silk from China to the Mediterranean, and then to Europe. Nishabur, now a small town in proximity of Mashhad, was one of these top 10 caravanserais in Mashhad, which have been transformed to traditional restaurants. Guldbrand is one of them. Yes. Please do this too. Take this. And afterwards, I'm just going to match. This great structure was built to commemorate the millennium following his death. Ferdowsi created a masterpiece of 60,000 verses depicting the ever-existing battle of goodness and evil, where rehabilitation was painstaking efforts over 30 years of hard work. Purpose of night to pay their visit to the shrine. Many workers are nocturnal by profession, for instance refuse collectors and cleaners, whom the city owes its cleanliness to their work and dedication, save as they are now burned for turbines to revolve. There have also been other attempts to harness The hustle and bustle of the Nara markets are daily scenes. Pilgrim business here. I suggest saffron. Bear in mind, everyone, a 3,000-year-old herb can be best planted and grown in.
As an adjunct to Kusangi recreational park, here is the place for children to be given some kind of entertainment. They get Kusangi is one of the oldest recreation.
You're closely linked with a history pride and dignity for the children in this heavenly city.
This shows the brief introduction of my city Mashhad, and then I explain the activities of Mashhad municipality and the community. In 2009, Mashhad municipality as a pioneer municipality regarding the safety of metropolises prepared the plan under the title of Summit. It includes 13 new plan for disaster risk reduction and safe community. This plan is selected by the Iranian Ministry of Interior and now is pattern for metropolises in Iran. Mashhad Safe Community implemented many projects in the field of safety, but some of the important project areas as below: safe school, safe hospital, safe trees and manor, safe tunnel, safe water courses, training for reaching safe community and safe zone. First, the safe rescue and safe hospital. Specific steps have been taken regarding renovation and restoration of all the structures, schools and hospitals, especially in the area of fortification and safety of schools and hospitals, as you can see in the pictures. Safe drills. Performing specialized maneuver and drills in schools is also one of the most important plans for reaching the safe city, as you see in the picture. Safe tunnel. We have two important tunnels in Mashhad. The first one is between two hospitals for quick access between two main hospitals in Mashhad. A tunnel has been designed and executed under the ground, as you see in the picture on the right. This tunnel reduced the time to carry the ill and the injured in rush hour from 21 minutes to 2 minutes. And the next one is the tunnel on the left. You can see the Mr. Guldbrand using this tunnel. It's an energy tunnel for safety of construction and infrastructure in Mashhad. Safe water course. Regarding safety of water course and elimination of flood, Mashhad has acted very successful and had resolved problem of the city flood in a 3 years, and also try to beautify the water course in addition to that. You can see the water course in Mashhad after renovation and beautify, and we can solve the problem of flood in Mashhad. One of the most important activities is training. Training is the key slogan of Mashhad city. Regarding the safety measures of the city, more than 10 conferences conduct and hold for mayors, commanders, governors, and also the second nation conference on safe community held in Mashhad at December 2014. You can see the picture of conference in Mashhad. One of the most important activities in Mashhad is the safe zone. In Mashhad municipality, we have 13 zones and more than 60 districts. From 2012, the safe community project started in Mashhad municipality. Mr. Guldbrand and Dr. Mohammadi visit the city of Mashhad for first field visit of Zone 1. And after about 2 years, in May 2015, Zone 1 success to join World Safe Community Association. Also, the first field visit of Samen Zone, most important zone around Imam Reza Holy Shrine, did at this time. You can see the field visit of Mashhad, Mr. Skjönberg and Dr. Mohammadi, and also you can see the picture of joining Zone 1 in the next slide, please. Yes. This picture is about Zone 1, the first zone in Mashhad can join to Safe Community Association. Next one, please. And also you can see the safety in park, children, playground, and next one. A celebration for Zone 1 in Mashhad municipality can join to Safe Community Association in May 2015. Mr. Maria is the mayor of Zone 1. Next, please. And it's also about joining to Safe Community. Thank you. We can experience living in a safe way and environment by helping one another, and thank you for your attention.
Hello, my name is Dong Soo Han. I am a student at Inje University in Korea with a degree in nursing science. It is my great pleasure to report findings from my research. The title of my presentation is Development of the Mental Health Model on Korean Immigrants in USA. The contents are as the following. The background of this study is, first of all, that out of 20,000 Korean immigrants per year, those to USA take about 60%. As well, Koreans tend to cling to the traditional values and patterns in culture, which cause conflict in the new values of the new country and make them experience stress from the difference in values. As well, it may be difficult to use social support because of the difficulties in the language. Thus, Korean immigrants receive stress and go into conflict during the process of adjusting to the immigrant life, which causes high side effects such as depression or even suicide. The purpose of this study was to develop a model that would further explain the mental health status of Korean immigrants living in America. Let's go on to the method. First of all, the subjects of this study were 330 Korean immigrants living in Houston, Seattle, and New York in USA. Data collection was done face-to-face with the research team actually meeting the subjects centered on Korean churches with structuralized surveys. The data analysis methods are as the following. The results are as the following. Firstly, the mental health of the immigrants in USA has a meaningful correlation with the physical health status, English proficiency, family cohesion, social support, immigrant life stress, self-esteem, and the quality of life. The model that describes the mental health of the immigrants in USA was developed as the picture on the slide. The physical health status, immigrant life stress, self-esteem, and quality of life all have a direct effect on mental health. English proficiency, family cohesion, and social support are said to have an indirect effect on mental health through parameters. After testing the immigrants in USA on this hypothetical model, because it was shown that family cohesion did not have an effect on the immigrant life stress and the quality of life, another model was found. As well, the passage of the effect of social support on the physical health state and the effect of quality of life on the immigrant life stress were added. As you can see on the table on the slide, after comparing the fit of the two models for the mental health of the immigrants, the numbers on the modified model show to be much better. Thus, we can see that the model development from this study is appropriate to describe the mental health of the immigrants. Thus, The immigrant life stress and self-esteem directly affect the mental health, and increasing proficiency, family cohesion, and social support indirectly affect the mental health. As well, physical health status and the quality of life directly and indirectly affect the mental health. Findings of this study can contribute to the design of an appropriate prevention strategy to further improve the mental health of immigrants in Korea and immigrants in USA. According to the result from this study, a research team is building and supporting a website to enhance the mental health of immigrants in USA. Thank you for listening and allowing me to present today. Thank you.
The chair and all participants, it's my pleasure to introduce myself. My name is Skjönberg from Taiwan in the Taipei. Right now, I just to introduce my topic. The topic is the significant improvement of the social security and the public safety, and after promotion of the health city program in Taipei, Taiwan. So I just wonders, all the participants just wonders the safe communities related to the health city have any relationship. So it's my purpose to introduce. If we to promote the health cities, it will be to encourage the community participations. So this study just to provide the evidence to prove if we can promote the health cities, this will be to ensure the safety community. Next. Thirdly, we know in the overall world, the urbanizations is always the population just to move to the urbans. So it's the best growth of the population in living in the urbans. We just worry about the urban, some facilities in other areas to other populations. So for these pictures, always you can see is the rain colors is always the urban urbanization over the 60%. Next. And for this one, in the security trends of the urban and the rural in the 2012. Always just the cross point. This means the living in the urban areas the higher to the rural. Okay, next. So definitely we know about the 2050s, over the 70% of the population just living in the urbans. So definitely it's the questionable in the futures. So if we based on the WHO, what is the health? Health not just only the rid of the disease. Maybe we can to including the physical, mental, and the social health. So definitely is the based on this way is the organizations. We just worry about it could be affect the political or social or financial or environmental and the health program. So that's because we just promote the health cities programs. Next. And for this one, what is the health cities? Health cities not just only to create the physical and the social environment, and we provide the mutual support and encourage the community to participate in these programs. So these health cities is the dynamic the process just to provide the livable or friendly the environment for the all citizens. Next. So based these the figures, and we want to promote the health city. We include different sectors. We just provide we can see the livable and the friendly environment for the all citizens. Next. So based on these health cities programs, we must to establish the infrastructures. Always we can see for this one, we just step by step promote these first programs. The first step, we just to organize the community to improve, to promote these health cities. And the next, we just evaluate the all citizens of the demand or need. And the second, we just establish the indicators of the health cities. And also, we just plan to the action, the programs for to solve these programs. And the next, we just evaluate these program have any achievement, any performance. So just based on these programs, we just PDCA the process. Next. So for this one, health cities in Taiwan, we just to roughly to introduce from the 1999, we just promote the health communities, and 2002 we just promote the safe communities, and 2003 we just promote the health cities. That's because the health cities just include the different cities, not just only the city. We have the community, we have the school, and the hospital. We just promote in the different cities. So based on this way, we have to establish the alliance for the health city in Taiwan. So right now, I just acting the general secretary promote the health cities. Next. So in the beginning, we just cooperate in the academia and the government. We just put together how to create the health city in different countries. So for these structures, we just to organize the team. Next. And also for this one, we just based on the proposals in the different cities. For this for this way, this WHO just how to create the health cities here to set up the goal. So based on the item 5, we just to provide the basic requirement of the food, water, shelter, safety, and income, and the workers and the welfare in the all citizens. Based on these wishes, to feed the safety communities. So that's me. I can to present my studies for here. Next. So definitely, I just introduced my background and the objective. So in the new Taipei city, we have promoted the health city advocate in the 2007. So based on this way, we just to set is the baselines and the follow up. So for this during this period, we just compare the different safety the progress. So we have to set out the international and domestic indicators, and we just measures for the indicators any difference. So for this study, we just emphasize the social security and the public safety. Next. So the methods we just introduced, I just mentioned from the 2007, I promote the health city in the new Taipei city, and the 2007 to the 8, we just to promote these programs, and also the third cycles we just implementations, and finally we just evaluate the outcomes. Overall, we just promote the programs. Next. So for this process, because we have a time limit, we did not clear to mention. Always we have to set the 3 stages. One stage we just organization stage, and the second we just implementation stage, and finally just evaluate all the processes. For this one is the each items just promote the health cities. Next. Okay, so because this study, we just emphasize to the public safeties. So for this one, we have to set up the different strategy, how to promote the social stability and how to prevent any criminal event. So first stage, we just process and volunteer police improvement in the existing public security maintenance. For in every community, we just set up the video to monitor any the event. Next. The second stage, we just strategy of the community participations. So we have invited all citizens to participate, the volunteer to how to attack any social event. Next. And the strategy 3, we just one-stop the windows, so we can see to list service to the criminal reporting system in the new Taipei cities. Definitely, so if any problems, is quickly to attack any the criminal event. Next. And the strategy 4, and we just aware about the alcohol drivers. So we just promote any activity in the school or communities. We just persuade all the citizens, including the children, to understand the alcohol driving is dangerous. Next. The strategy 4, always we just promote the social event in the community, and we just encourage the community participations. We just to any the anti-narcotic drug activization in the communities. Next. And the strategy 6, we just to dissemination of the any the civilist activities. So we just to educate all the citizens to understand, to just follow any regulation or any law. Next. And the strategy 7, we just to set up the comprehensive monitoring system in the new Taipei cities, and also we have electronic traffic, the accident information system in new Taipei cities. Next. The strategy 8, we have to establish the coordinated monitoring and the identification and the check-in system for cars. If the car is not to validate any systems, we use the list system is quickly to monitor and to inspect and to attack. Next. And the strategy 9, we have to educate all the citizens. We just provide the game and the web network to all the citizens and children to understand how to follow the regulation and the rule. Strategy 10, that's the one we have to provide the critical test of how to verify the black monies. Because the IC is the other cities always we have the black monies. So we just to educate the young people or citizens how to differentiate the true and the fake monies. Next. So generally, for these strategies, we have to get a result. So we have to compare the different stage. From the 2007, we just established the baseline, and the follow-up in the 2010, we just to implementations, and finally 2013, we have evaluated all systems. So based on we have to set up the different indicators. The first one is the social security, and the next is the public safety, and also is the numbers. Definitely for this data, we can see just the decrease from these indicators, and also in the manpower is the not any effect. So definitely, I see is the health program is effectively to promote the social security and the public safety. Okay, next. So based on this data, we just to take away how much the improve of the public safety and the social securities. So definitely always we can list the indicators, always is the sequence for these ones.
Please, can you...
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, next. So we have a conclusion. So definitely I see is the very important for this one. Definitely if we can promote the health cities, definitely is related to the safe communities. Overall, I just appreciate if we can promote the health cities is to be benefit for the safe community in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And please, for the safety, keep to 90 minutes. Rest of the speakers. And now Eva Guldbrand from Sweden, from Norway, excuse me.
Okay. The program says I'm from Sweden. That is true. I was born in Sweden. I've lived in Norway for 25 years. And this is just to tell you that Norway and Sweden are two countries very close to one another, and we even understand each other's language. So it's very easy to move between those two countries. I'm here to give you a short introduction about the Norwegian Safety Forum, my organization in Norway, about the safe community work in Norway, about accidents and injuries, and our safety community work, as well as the main thing, to present a new project. And that's also why I'm attending this conference, to get new ideas. And I've already made a lot of notes this morning, and some of the posters actually are on the same thing. Norway, small country, far away, 5 million people. That's not very, very big. 19 regions, 428 communities. We have some very small communities. The smallest one is actually only 211 inhabitants. We're probably going to have some bigger communities in the year to come, fewer. We have 550 injuries registered at our hospitals every year. We know there are more accidents, but the registration isn't always good enough. 2,000 deaths by accidents every year, and about 500 suicides. But before we go any further, Norway is far away, and this is the way it looks in Norway right now. It's 35 degrees colder than here. So this would be my home and my family right now. We live in a big world. Circumstances are very different. I work in the Norwegian Safety Forum. It's a non-profit organization established to promote safety and prevent injuries, and to create joint action between public and private sector and NGOs. Our mission is to coordinate and develop safe community work in Norway, among other things. And we are supported by the Norwegian Ministry of Health and the Norwegian insurance companies. It gives us 1 foot in the private camp, so to speak, 1 foot in the public side. We have 5 main lines of actions in our organization: child safety, senior safety, prevention of drowning, collecting use of injury data, and community safety promotion. There are many other fields that are as important as traffic and fire, but in Norway we have many other good organizations working with those themes. So my organization focuses on these 5. And we have many different types of people that take part in our activities in our network. We know that for a safe community and a safe surrounding, we need academia, we need the research, but we also need engineers, firefighters, people, swimming training instructors, doctors, and so on. And within our organization, we meet them all. The safe community work in Norway is fairly active. We have 22 designated communities and 2 counties, and we meet on a regular basis. We promote material and information and exchange ideas and experience. And we have also developed a national program that works alongside with the international one. So you can see we have two logos in Norway. We use the international one for the ones that are designated as an international designated community, and we have the national Norwegian one for the communities following the Norwegian program. But in practice life, they all meet and they all work together for a safe work. The Norwegian model is very well established, and we have a lot of material about it, but so far it's all in Norwegian. But the main difference between the international one and the national one is that the national program is based on Norwegian realities, laws and regulations that are basic for Norwegian communities. We work within a very good framework. This is a politician in one part of a county in Norway, and he says this about safe community. He says it's a useful model to motivate interaction, cooperation, and to put municipalities, various measures into the overall system. And I think he phrases it so well when he says, it's good for the politicians, good for the administration, and good for the citizens. And I think if we had more politicians realizing this, we would have a safer society. We have a good framework for prevention work in Norway, and the new Public Health Act have measures within lots of fields, as you can see. Unfortunately, injuries and accidents is pretty long down on the list. We wish it was on the top. And we do need more focus on injury prevention and safety promotion. That's also what facts tells us. If you look at the life lost in Norway, young people lose their lives due to accidents and degrees. So we really need to do something about this. 10% of all the beds in Norwegian hospitals is occupied by a person that's been in an accident. So it's also about money, about saving money and use resources in a good way. So this is the background for our new project. We want to increase awareness on the scope of injuries and the potential for prevention. We want more people involved. Within safe communities, we work with communities. Now we want to work with local groups. The objective is to save lives, of course, but we want to put safety promotion classes on everybody, on a football team, on an institution, on an elderly center, a daycare center. We want small groups and families to take active part in safety promotion. And we hope this project can get more communities to be interested in safe community program. We've also looked into what we know about what type of works that functions best. And these are studies made on different approaches. We can make a lot of mass media and brochures, but it's not very efficient. We can have laws and regulations. That's very efficient. But then again, we're a non-profit organizations. We cannot create laws and regulations. So we have to work with what we call community-based activities and orchestrated measures when we put together different type of activities. And that also gives a very good result. And that goes for all the safe community work as well. So by sharing facts, information, and best practice easily available, we will supply tools and checklists and information on how to carry out safety checks in different surroundings. Around the school, around the private area, in private homes, in elderly centers, and just to make more people more active. I can't share any results or conclusions yet, because this project we're building up right now. But the initial phase has shown us that a lot of people want to be part of this. And it's an easy way for us as an organization to get another organization wanting to do something, because we can tell them, we actually have a checklist. Could you promote this checklist in your groups and to your members, and we might work together. That's our new website. It says how to work together, and then you can look into different age groups and so on. And these are some of the accidents we want to promote or work against. Burn injuries among children. We need facts. We need to tell people about it. About using reflective materials, important in a country as Norway where it's dark a lot of times. The slippery roads in the winter, icicles. And a new problem maybe, raise awareness about how to present Norway to tourists. We live in a beautiful country, but a lot of time we promote pictures like this, and it's not a very good idea. Every year we have death accidents with tourists coming to Norway because they see a picture like this and they want to do the same thing. And frankly, normal people shouldn't do that. It's obviously not a good idea. So the vision of a better world is a better world taking form, and we try to be part of that. Thank you. Just one more. This sign was on the road in Cambodia. I saw it last week. I think it's a lovely sign.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So my presentation is entitled Risk Perception. Is it a reflective constructs? And the aims of my presentation is twofold. First, to say something about the concept, perception of risk, and then about the role of risk perception and worry in demand for risk mitigation. So this is more about the safety than security. The data material that was collected last year is from 6 urban areas in Norway, and it's about travel mode perception and travel modes safety. And what we have measured is risk perception. And you can see the different travel modes that we have included. Train accidents, bus, ferry, car, motorcycle, and so on. And risk perception is the subjective assessments of probability of accidents and the judgment of severity of consequences if an accident should take place. That's the major part. It's the subjective as an intuitive assessment of risks. And we also measure worry and demand for risk mitigation. I don't go into further details on this now. Some of you may know the psychometric paradigm in risk perception research. It focuses on the subjective qualities of hazard perception. And important is that it conceives perceived risk to be a multidimensional concept that are reflected in the characteristics of risk. This is important, an important element in how we perceive risk. So when you then have a lot of indicators making up various dimensions, then factor analysis is a tool for examining how the dimensional structure of the concept is. And so what the conclusion of this is that risk perception is perceived to be a psychological construct, and risk perception can be measured according to this paradigm. So we may differentiate between reflective indicators and formative indicators. And the first one is a reflective model. So the construct is essential for how people judge it. So when you see at the axis that is the indicators, then the construct reflects the indicators, and then the indicators should be correlated. That's essential if risk perception is a psychological construct. The other way is around, that it is when the indicators form the construct, then the indicators do not need to be correlated. So this is the way that the psychometric paradigm conceives risk perception. Please. What we have tested is various models of these concepts. The first model is the probability assessment and the judgment of severity, which should make up the risk perception. That is model A, which is a second-order factor analysis. And then you see the indicators below. And then in the model B, we have also included worry into the model. And as you can see by the fit statistics, the fit is not satisfying. So the model is not fit to the data. So it cannot be in this way that people perceive risk. So therefore, we have tried various other concepts. Next, please. You go backwards. So yes, okay. So now I'm going to say something about how risk perception is related to risk mitigation. Okay. First, we then included into the models the way the psychometric paradigm perceives perceived risk to be. Because we was thinking that it may work even though people don't perceive risk in this way when we also include demand for risk mitigation. But as you can see by the model fit, it was not very good. Next please. This is another model testing the same, and as you can see the model fit is not very good. So therefore, that cannot be the way people perceive risk, and it cannot be the way that it could explain demand for risk mitigation. So people don't perceive risk, people perceive objects. So risk perception is identical to object perception. So you don't perceive risk by this chair, you perceive the chair, and then you connect risk to the chair. So we have to split the concepts. And this model shows in a better way how people perceive risk, and also how risk is related to worry and how that influences demand for risk mitigation. And we had to split private transport from public transport because people perceive those risks differently. So the concepts don't merge into one big concept as perceived by the psychometric model. And as you can see by the fit indices, it's a very good model. Next please. This is data. The model I showed you on the last overhead was from new data. This is from an article we published in 2006, and it's 3 different data materials. And as you can see, it's the same model. So it's stability in these results. Next please. Next please. So the conclusion is that travel mode was found to be important for how transport risk was perceived, for worry and for demand for risk mitigation. So the results did not support the idea that perceived risk could be conceptualized as a reflective psychological construct. So factors previously assumed to be important in the conceptualization of risk perception may be a less fruitful basis for understanding how the urban public perceives risk in transport. Thank you for your attention.
Today about the investigation that we conducted and express my view on community safety and what's the future safe community in Japan. In the first slide, I'd like to show a brief background about my research. Kameoka in Kyoto Prefecture is first safe community in Japan, and now it's expected to get certification in 2018. In addition to these circumstances, a lot of communities in Japan are now tackling problems related to safety. So we conducted a survey in such a pioneer community, not only to assess their programs, but also contribute to safety and security in community level. But now I'd like to introduce three of my research and their activities. Kameoka is located in the central region of Kyoto Prefecture. And Kameoka is known as a commuter town and typical aging society. I'd like to emphasize on the system for safety promotion at the neighborhood community. In 2006, Kameoka learned about the concept of safe community and started activities. As a result of working with concerned actors, Kameoka became a member of safe community in 2008, and 5 years later they got second certification. There are 6 pilot communities selected from all neighborhoods. In Japan, Neighborhood Community Association has been taking important roles in neighborhood communities. The associations consisted from residents living in the neighborhood. They are taking some parts of public services in their communities. Therefore, these associations are considered indispensable organizations to promote safety at community level. In the next few minutes, I'd like to explain objectives and methods of my research. In this study, we try to research the consciousness of local residents about safe community activities. Especially, we focus on these 3 points. This is a statement from white paper in Japan. From government investigation, over 60% people have nobody with whom they can cooperate in their daily lives. So I also want to try to answer this question in this presentation. In this study, we chose these 7 activities to be set in investigation. And please look at this photo. Environment beautification campaign is a typical activity in the neighborhoods in Japan. This slide shows the outline of questionnaire. Such a large-scale survey was conducted in 3 districts in pilot communities. This is a map of Kameoka. Objective areas are these 3 districts. Now I want to talk about results from our investigation. First, perception rate of self-community activities effect on resident environment evaluation in their communities. I take disaster drilling as an example. This bar chart illustrates the relationship between the perception rate of disaster drilling and the attachment rate to local community. You can see from this chart that over 60% of residents who know well about disaster drilling answer they have a great attachment to their communities. In addition, there is a key point I would like to highlight. It is true there were relationships between perception rate and feeling about safety and security. But it is considered that there are some influences from hardware such as structure or population density. Second, I would like to focus attention on the relationship between the involvement rate and the adequacy rate of self-community activities. Figure 2 shows the relationship between perception rate and the adequacy rate of activities. Figure 3 shows the relationship between the experience rate and the intention to participate in activities. These results mean that residents who know or experience activities are more likely to evaluate these activities positively. Third, in comparison to government investigation, we can say that a lot of residents in Community City have better relationship in the neighborhoods. In addition to this result, there was a relationship between experience rate of self-community activities and number of neighbors with whom people cooperate in their daily lives. In other words, there was a trend that residents who experience self-community activities have much neighbors who can help each other. I would like to conclude my presentation by stating my opinion about self-community in Japan. This slide explains the theoretical background of the self-anti-crime activities in communities. I do not have enough time to explain this in detail, but I can say these theories share 3 important points in self-anti-crime activities in communities. These concepts and theories can be described like this. This slide shows the establishment of such functions have strongly effect on crime prevention and can reduce fear of crime in communities. In my opinion, close local interactions through self-community activities make communities set up these functions with sustainability. With regard to case of Kameoka City, it seems to me neighborhood community association made a big contribution to the establishment of these functions. So how can we think self-community model in Japan in the future? According to white paper, participation rate of neighborhood community association has not changed in the past 30 years. But the frequency of participation in community activities has been decreasing. In other words, different from Kameoka City, neighborhood community associations in a lot of communities in Japan was substances. In this presentation, I'd like to emphasize on the importance of social capital for safety promotion. Social capital is defined as networks together with shared norms, values, and understandings that facilitate cooperation with or among groups. And as you can see, there are 2 categories of social capital. I assume that self-community activities make residents and community have both social bonds and accumulation of networks. with various actors and which is more important for self-promotion. I think social capital is not just about community itself, but it should be networks which enable communities to work together with actors both inside and outside. So how to build social capital for self-promotion? I suppose industry-academia collaboration is effective. Indicators for self-community said self-community have an infrastructure based on partnership and collaboration in their communities. But I think collaboration with special groups such as academic institution or NPO is important. In Japan, collaboration is relatively new concept in the community management. In Kamioka, residents have been used to work together to solve problems in their communities, but through such collaborations, residents can learn that they can ask experts outside to support their activities. Neighborhood Community Association in Kamioka has strong bonds, but they also have been cooperating with 7 universities as a partnership to promote safety. I finished my presentation with these words. These are messages from section chief in Kamioka City. I think becoming a member of self-community network is also important, but through self-community activities, concerned actors both inside and outside of communities can build strong social capital that is indispensable for communities' development. This is end of my presentation, and this study was collaborated with members, and I would also like to express my gratitude to these co-authors. Thank you for kind attention.
Surya, hi, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dhevaraj Hotel, Advanced Practitioner from Thamka Hospital, Thailand. I would like to present my title, which is Development Community Participation to Stop Alcohol in Mangwa Community, Thamka District, non-profit, Thailand. Background. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you. Alcohol is popular among Thai people. The northern region is found to be the region that has the highest number of alcohol consumers. In 2004, Nan province became the province with the highest number of alcoholic of country. Next, please. Many traffic accident injuries caused by alcohol during the festival keep increasing every year. In 2013, Nan province was included on the list of the new alcohol drivers. Mangwa County is a farming county in the metropolitan area in Thamka District, Nan province. 66% of people consume alcohol. 98% of families surveyed show that they drink alcohol. Most labor workers drank alcohol after work and during the day in the agriculture or construction because they assume the alcohol helps relieve pain and age. The average amount of the money spent on is about $60 per month. 97% have economic problems which lead to the other problem. 104 persons to mental and family problems. 16 persons are chronic alcoholic. There are reports of horror mayhem happening in their family. The serious trauma situation in the end of 2010, 2 girls in the community had an accident and died due to alcohol. The crisis situation led to the community consensus want to reduce problem from alcohol effect and need a safe community. The objective to study the development community participation to stop alcohol in our community. The participatory action research were to study the development community participation to stop alcohol in our community between 2011 to 14 by dialogue and community participation. The center was composed 45 stakeholders, 215 drinkers, and 68 teenagers participating. The alcohol use disorder identification test was used to collect data. The research phase had 3 phases. The first pre-research phase was to prepare for the researcher, analyze community, improve cooperation of researcher and community, provide information and raise awareness to the community. In the second phase, the research phase, the participation technique was done in 4 steps include planning, practice, observation, and reflection on problem until the community will stop alcohol. And finally, monitoring and evaluation phase. This is the activity in the first year. To stop alcohol policy was done in the community. No alcohol allowed the funeral and agriculture. Having alcohol-free zone in community. The store will not sell alcohol in any Buddhist holiday. Lastly, give certificate reward to role model that he successfully to stop consumer alcohol. In the second year, promote sport alcohol-free in youth. Establish alcohol cessation clinic in community for chronic alcoholic. Having role model encouragement the drinker to stop drinking. Support occupational to chronic alcoholic and family. And the third year, promote to stop alcohol during Buddhist Lent, promoting people to refrain from alcohol for their life, promote exercise in teenage and elderly, building community safety by security team in order to reduce an accident. These are the pictures show the activity. The first, inviting and promote to stop alcohol by youth and volunteer. The children wrote essay about suffering from alcohol. They wrote a letter to their parents and a slogan contest to stop drinking among young people. The promote campaign to stop alcohol in the community through teachers and media. The practice intensively in the Buddhist holiday. Raising awareness of the bad effect of alcohol by doctors from non-hospital. The activity of teenage group include elderly, children, and economic active to stop alcohol drinking. Promote alcohol-free in boat racing, event, and sport. Promote the campaign to save money spent on alcohol from father to their son. Home are visit and encouraged to stop alcohol drank to leader by leader, committee, and health provider. And give certificate reward to whom the successfully. The result. The policy in community forbid drinking alcohol in the funeral, agriculture, and limit time of free shop did not sell alcohol and all of them not sell alcohol on the Buddhist holiday. Limit safety zone of alcohol and anti-addict drinker. 96% success stop drinking during Buddhist Lent in 2014, and 33% can stop drinking continually. Why chronic alcoholic able to stop alcohol by community cessation? 12% are role model to stop drinking alcohol and promote others to stop too. No event and accident caused from alcohol in the community. No problem and mayhem in their family. 95% satisfaction. Conclusion. Action for promotion in the committee require cooperation from committee leader to design activity lead to the participation and sustainability. Acknowledgement everybody in this slide. Thank you for the attention.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now we have heard 7 presentations, and now we are, the time is out, but I think that we at least need a few minutes for any comments. I think that many people have comments or questions to the speakers, clarify or otherwise. So, please.
I would like to very impressed with all the presentation. As you can see, there are many efforts around the world just to contribute to decrease violence and to decrease all these different risks that are around our safety. I think any approach is important, and our co-responsibility from each of us to contribute as a part of all these possibilities to make a better world. One of the questions I really like about the perception of risk, because it's always a controversial part. And if we can see that other part of the perception, not with the objective as we can see always, but with the what is before happen anything, could be increases the culture of prevention and in the world and in everybody and also in any of us. So I think that approach, it brings us a possibility not only for the future academics, but also for the people who are working in communities and as well politicians, so that we can see first what are the risks in order to prevent them, and in that way those objectives or events won't happen. So that was a very good approach, and also the contribution from the people who are making decisions are very important. Even in different approaches, if we are not working together, academicians, with the political part, I mean the ones who are making the decisions in governments, in different parts of the world, we are not able to have a very good impact in what we are working from in this movement of safe communities. That is my comment, and I really thank everybody of us, all the speakers, all the people that have been this morning here with us. Thank you.
We would like to thank you, Dr. Guldbrand from International Safe Community Certifier, and our co-chair, Dr. Maria Isabel Gutierrez, Director of the Institute for Peace Promotion and Injury Violence Prevention. Thank you. We have some small tips for you as well.